Hi guys, it's Little Kansas Kitty and I welcome you back to my journey. I had the RNY gastric bypass surgery on June 25th, 2018, so this marks my 30-week post-op update. I started off my high weight at 238 pounds. I'm 5'6". I'm 38 years old, and last week I came to you and I weighed 147. Mind you, I don't count ounces, I always round down. The week before that, I weighed 147. And let's get on the scale and see what I weigh today. As you can see, I weigh 147. That's no change in the last 3 weeks. 147, 147, 147. And I wish I could tell you that that's a stall that I'm going through, but it's not. It's not. I am basically learning how to maintain and what I can get away with. So I do like to have treats here and there, and I have found what I can have and how I can continue with my fitness and how I can maintain and stay stable. And so I was on a run a couple weeks ago with my girlfriends, and one of them is a personal trainer, and we stopped to do a little walk break, a little water walk break, and they're super short when we do that. And I started to feel some discomfort in the back of my leg, kind of in the hamstring area. And I talked to the personal trainer, my friend, and I said, gosh, I'm feeling this little pull. I'm not feeling it while I'm running. What do you think it is? And she said, are you doing anything different? Are you doing anything different right now? I said, yes, actually, I've started doing 3 days of strength training per week, whether it is some light weights, some push-ups, some planks, some wall sits at home. And I said, do you think it's the wall sits? Do you think that's causing some of that? Did I pull something? And she said, no. She said, it's not going to be your wall sits because your wall sits are working your quads. She said, have you done any squats? And I said, oh yeah, that's right. I did do some squats, which I hate squats. I never ever do squats. And this one day I was just feeling super energized, and I was doing, actually it was the day before that run, I was doing a ton of squats and I was getting down real low. I was feeling really good about them. And I definitely used some muscles I don't usually use, and I had a little strain on there. And what my friend Nikki told me is, she said, you know, with you being so close to your marathon, there isn't a whole lot that you can do to help with strengthening or making you any faster for your marathon at this far, you know, with this short of a distance out, with just a few weeks out. But there is a lot of harm you can do to yourself, and you can really hurt yourself. So just be really careful with anything new that you're adding in. And so I definitely listened, and I also took that as, hey, there's not a lot difference that I can do for my running goals for this marathon that I have coming up. And if my weight stays the same, that's fine. There's not a whole lot that I can change at this point. I'm there, I'm ready to go, and I'm running a marathon in 2 weeks. I'm so excited. I have had some mindful days and some not so mindful days. So let's just jump into the not so mindful days. So I had an event earlier this week at work, and that evening I was getting home really late, and I had to go get some gas, and I stopped at the gas station at Quick Trip, and I got some gas, and then I thought, let me just treat my son with one of their warm, chewy, soft pretzels. And so I jumped into Quick Trip real quick, and I ordered 2 pretzels. It comes with a little bit of cheese on the side. Brought it home to him. He was so excited. I haven't treated him to that for some time, and he loves those pretzels. I mean, they are so good. And he had one of them, and he had already had some food, and so he wasn't going to have the other one. And as we were sitting there chit-chatting, I was looking at the other one, and the pretzel was just staring at me in my face. And I thought, oh, let me just try a little bit. And granted, I had not had any bread, rice, pasta, any of those kind of starchy carbs yet at this point. And so I start eating this pretzel, and holy goodness, oh my gosh, it tasted incredible. It was so good. The salt on there and dipped in the cheese. Man, that pretzel hit the spot. And for some of you weight loss surgery patients, I am curious, how do you feel when you are eating kind of a starchy carb? For me, it filled me up. It really, really filled me up, and it almost felt like it was kind of stuck there, and it wasn't like I've had when I've had like sugary kind of treats where I feel like they're moving through me real quickly. It was like, ooh, that is filling, and it was amazing. And so the next morning, and I'm curious about this, and please do comment, especially for you that have had weight loss surgery and the RNY gastric bypass. So with the RNY gastric bypass, you know that our small intestine is bypassed, and they take out, I want to say, from reading up about it, I want to say they take out almost a little over 3 feet of our small intestine. And our small intestine is long, it's like 20 feet long, but they do take a big, piece of that's bypassed. And let's just get into a sensitive topic here, and this is probably TMI, but let's talk bowels. So the next morning after I'd had this pretzel, I went number 2. And boy, let me tell you, I went number 2. It was like, it just came out of me, and I could not believe the amount. And it does make me think that when I'm eating something starchy carb, does that happen to all of you where you just like, it just moves through you super, super fast? Is that kind of a late dumping maybe? I'm not sure, but I definitely could go after I ate that. Another not so mindful, definitely not very mindful decision at all. I purchased some of the Reese's peanut butter eggs, the ones that come out for Easter a little early here, and I had a couple of them one evening. And I think when we tend to stray from our diet, we're eating emotionally a lot of the time, whether we're just having a kind of down day or feeling off, or maybe we're stressed or anxious, or for me, I was having a pretty happy day. So even when you're happy, you just can emotionally eat if you're not being mindful. And I had these 2 Reese's peanut butter eggs, and oh shoot, oh my goodness, they hit me hard. I dumped so hard. I got hot so fast, like sweaty hot. My heart was racing. I felt nauseated. I had to lay down. I basically wasted 45 minutes into my evening, because for 45 minutes I had to lay down and let this feeling pass. So that high sugar content did make me dump. It just, yep, not a smart decision. Definitely not mindful. A few mindful things that I have done this week. I haven't been all too bad, but I did go to lunch with a couple of my girlfriends on the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. We happened to all be off work. It was really great. The stars had aligned, and we went and had sushi. And I had the sushi that's wrapped with cucumbers instead of the rice. And there were, I'm going to say 6 pieces. I'll drop a photo of them in here real quickly. And as you can see from my after plate, I didn't finish it. I had just enough, and I took my leftovers home. I weighed them just out of curiosity, because I was intuitively eating and trying to really listen to my body. And I ate exactly 4 ounces, which was incredible. So I do know how much I should be having in a meal, even when I'm out to eat, and really paying attention and being intuitive. What I am doing when I'm being very intentional and mindful and purposeful is I'm consciously paying attention to the number of chews that I'm taking before I swallow when I take a bite. And I try to take at least 20 chews. And it seems to be that that is enough time to register, to come up to my brain and say, okay, you're becoming satisfied, you're getting full. And I'm also very mindfully placing my fork down in between bites. And I think it's very, very, very helpful. Another great discovery this week was Halo Top ice cream. Oh my gosh, low sugar, low carb, protein in it, so delicious. So I've been having that as my evening treat in the evenings, and I'm just adding a little dollop of sugar-free whipped cream, and it is incredible. And it's just enough of a little sweet, mindful treat on my tongue. A few NSVs this week. I was getting ready to leave the office and I went through our first floor space where we have a kitchen and event space area, and I ran into our founder, and it looked like she was grabbing a few glasses, a few snacks, and she said, I just impromptu invited a couple of my CEO friends to come over for a little happy hour. And she said, do you know if we have any vodka? I said, yeah, we do. And so I ran over to the pantry real quickly, and on the very lowest shelf is where we keep our spirits and our wines. And I just like, without hesitation, crouched down and I started digging through. And in that moment, it hit me and I thought, gosh, had I been 238 pounds, I would have not been able to crouch down like that so comfortably with ease and look through those bottles. And I was really, really proud. And I just had that moment, was like, wow, you're very flexible and you're able to do this because you've lost 91 pounds. Your weight is much, much lower than it was in the past. I mentioned that we had an event the other night at work, and where we have our events, we have concrete flooring there. And typically, it can get very uncomfortable, usually dependent on which shoes you're wearing on that concrete floor, because there isn't any seating and you're mingling and networking, and often there is a program and some speakers for a short time. And this particular event, there was a small little Q&A program going on, and I was standing in the back listening, and it took about 20 to 25 minutes. And in the past, when I had been my high weight, I would constantly stand and just shift my weight, all that 238 pounds back and forth, and it would be so uncomfortable, and I'd be looking around and just wishing I could find a chair to sit down in, and there aren't any chairs. And today, when I was at that event, I had no problem. I stood there for about 20 to 25 minutes listening, and I had energy. I was like ready to go do some cleanup, and I had no pain, no discomfort. And I know that's a huge NSV, because when you have that excess weight on you, it just tires you out. And I didn't have that. I wasn't experiencing that. Another NSV, and I'm not sure how much of an NSV this is, but it just hit me that my weight, my number of pounds, is lower than my son. My son is only 15. He got his driver's permit this week. Anyway, he's almost 6 feet tall, and he weighs roughly 150 pounds. He fluctuates probably a couple pounds here and there, 150, 151, 152, back down to 150. And I weigh lower than him. I weigh less than him. I weigh 147. I can't believe that I weigh less than my baby boy. And for those of you that have partners, significant others, spouses, a man in your life, it is your goal always to weigh less than the men in your life. And so it's a huge, huge accomplishment when us women do that. Do you keep visual reminders and goals out for yourself, or maybe just positive self-talk, positive quotes? I do, and I leave them out for my kids. I leave them out for myself. I have a sticker chart that I put stars on days that I've done really, really great and felt that I was really, really disciplined. I also keep Post-its around. I keep inspirational quotes, And something that I do want to begin to do is kind of create a mood vision dream board. And that is just clipping out different images of goals that I have. Maybe they are financial goals, or maybe they are just visual reminders of trips that I have coming up. I do also recall one trip that I had years back. I kept a bathing suit, a smaller bathing suit, hanging up in my bathroom. So maybe it's actual clothing or a pair of jeans that you want to get into. Seeing them visually really helps keep you energized and excited and focused on your goals.
By representing your goals with pictures and images, you will actually strengthen and stimulate your emotions because your mind responds strongly to visual stimulation. And your emotions are the vibrational energy that activates the law of attraction. The saying, "A picture is worth 1,000 words," certainly holds true here.
Are you taking care of yourself? Are you giving yourself that love and self care? We are all less able to handle the stresses that come our way when we are depleted by emotional and physical exhaustion. And I feel that's oftentimes when we tend to stray and we tend to emotional eat. And so it's so important to practice self care. Put in a more positive way, we are more resilient and able to handle life stresses when we are feeling our best, both physically and emotionally. Whether that's taking a soak in the tub or getting a massage. Yesterday, I had a day of self care and self love, and it started with the night before with getting a great 8 hours of sleep. I woke up that morning and I went on a 22-mile run. And what better way to self love and take care of yourself than to get your fitness on? And this was my last long training run before my Mesa, Phoenix, Arizona marathon in 2 weeks. So I'm really excited that I was able to complete that and check that box. After that, I got home and I had a protein shake, just really taking care of my body. And then I freshened up my hair color. And then I kind of decided I was going to go out and do some self care for the day. And so I did pack a meal, and I packed a healthy, mindful meal that I could eat while I was out and about. And then I went to the gym and I got my strength training in and I worked on my arms. After that, I decided, please don't judge me, but I did go ahead and get in the tanning bed. And I thought, I'm 2 weeks away from a trip to the desert to Arizona. I'm going to be in a tank top and shorts running this marathon. And I have been covered in layers all winter long here in Kansas City. And my skin is pale and pasty, and I did not want to be a ghost and glowing along the race course. And so I decided, let me just get a little tiny color before I go. And plus, it's great vitamin D. It just feels good, and that warmth feels really good. And so I'm not going to be an obsessive, addictive, bronze tanning lady, but a little color is what I was aiming for before my trip, and it felt good. I felt like it was self-love for me. Then I went next door to the store and I purchased birdseed. And I know that's not self-love for me, but it's something that sparks joy for me. Watching the birds out of my back window, I love to feed the birds and watch them dance around. And we have a poster hanging up in our kitchen where my children and we love to check off the different Missouri species of birds when we see them. Some of them have traveled south, but there are still plenty of bird watching to do, and I love to feed them, especially when it's so cold out. Then I went to the spa and I got a pedicure, and this was a total just for fun pedicure. As you can see, I have my 26.2 and my cactuses, all in inspiration for my desert marathon coming up in a couple weeks. And I also got a manicure. I encourage you to take time out of your abundant life and take care of yourself. Give yourself some self love. You can't pour from an empty cup. You have to take care of yourself first.